I found our wedding video while cleaning the closet. I was looking for a sweet memory. Instead, I heard my husband bragging about cheating on me with my best friend for 2 years, so I planned him a surprise birthday party and served divorce papers instead. I found the wedding video while cleaning out the closet. Our anniversary was next week, and I thought watching it might help bridge the growing distance between Maxwell and me. The camera had been gathering dust for months, a relic from happier times. I plugged it into the laptop and fast-forwarded through the ceremony, looking for that moment when he whispered something in my ear that made me laugh. Instead, I found something else entirely. The audio picked up a conversation from the reception, Maxwell's voice, drunk and boastful, talking to someone off camera. 2 years now, he said, his words slurred but clear. She has no idea. Lisa's been incredible about keeping it quiet. My hands went cold. Lisa. My best friend Lisa, who'd been my maid of honor, who watched Nora every Friday night, who knew every detail of my marriage troubles. The wife's been so focused on the kid, she doesn't even notice when I'm gone, Maxwell continued, laughing. Perfect setup, really. Lisa gets what she needs, I get what I want, and nobody gets hurt. The video showed him adjusting his tie, grinning at whoever held the camera. In the background, I could see myself dancing with Nora, spinning her around in her flower girl dress, completely oblivious. I rewound it 3 times, each viewing making it more real. 2 years. While I'd been struggling with postpartum depression, while I'd been working 60-hour weeks to support his failing startup, while I'd been begging him to go to counseling with me. I copied the file to 3 different drives. Then I sat in the silence of our bedroom and planned my next move. Maxwell's surprise birthday party was scheduled for Saturday night. I'd spent weeks planning it, inviting his college friends, ordering his favorite cake, decorating the living room. Now I had different plans. I printed out divorce papers that morning and tucked them inside a birthday card envelope. Then I called Alicia. I need you to pick up Nora tonight, I said, and keep her for the weekend. Everything okay? It will be. The guests arrived at 7. Maxwell walked in at 7:30, genuinely surprised by the crowd in our living room. He hugged me, kissed my cheek, played the perfect husband for 20 minutes while I served drinks and smiled. Then I handed him his card. He opened it in front of everyone, still grinning, until his face went white. The papers fell to the floor. Our friends stared, confused by the sudden tension. Happy birthday, Maxwell, I said, my voice steady. I know about Lisa. The room went silent except for the soft jazz playing from the speakers. Maxwell's mouth opened and closed like he was drowning. Everyone needs to leave, I continued, still calm. Now. They filed out quickly, whispering among themselves. Lisa wasn't there. I'd specifically not invited her, though Maxwell hadn't noticed. When the last guest left, Maxwell finally found his voice. We can work through this. It's not what you think. I have the wedding video, I said. 2 years, Maxwell. You told them 2 years. He tried a different approach. Think about Nora. Think about what divorce will do to her. I walked to the closet and pulled out the suitcases I'd already packed with his clothes. Nora deserves better than watching her father lie to her mother every day. You can't just throw me out. Watch me. Maxwell stood in the doorway of our bedroom, watching me pack the last of his belongings. I'd been methodical. Clothes, toiletries, his laptop, the watch his father gave him. Everything that belonged to him, nothing that belonged to us. Where am I supposed to go? He asked. I held up the device he'd left on his nightstand. Call Lisa. I'm sure she has space. He flinched. It's not like that between us. It's exactly like that. I folded his shirts with sharp, efficient movements. 2 years, Maxwell. The whole time I thought I was failing as a wife, you were getting your needs met elsewhere. You were distant after Nora was born. You barely looked at me. I stopped folding. I was drowning. I needed help, not abandonment. I tried to help. You tried to escape. I zipped the last suitcase shut. There's a difference. He sat on the edge of the bed we'd shared for 5 years. What about counseling? What about fighting for this? I fought alone for 2 years while you were with her. I pulled out my phone and showed him a text thread. I've already contacted a lawyer. I've documented everything. The wedding video is in a safe deposit box. His face went pale. You can't use that in court. What about Nora? You're going to destroy her family over this? You destroyed her family the first time you slept with my best friend. I picked up the suitcases and walked toward the door. I'm protecting what's left of it. He followed me downstairs, still pleading. I'll end it with Lisa. I'll do whatever you want. I opened the front door and set his bags on the porch. What I want is for you to leave. This is my house too. No, I said, handing him the papers he'd dropped earlier. This is Nora's house. Read page 3. He scanned the documents, his face growing more ashen. You can't get sole custody based on adultery. I can get it based on abandonment and emotional neglect. I stepped back inside. You have until Monday to find a lawyer. The door closed between us with a soft click. Monday morning, I sat across from Jennifer Walsh, the divorce attorney Alicia had recommended. She'd reviewed all my documentation over the weekend. Financial records, the wedding video, text messages, even Maxwell's credit card statements showing hotel charges. You've been thorough, she said, closing the folder. This level of evidence gathering suggests you've been planning this for a while. I've been unconsciously collecting proof for months, I admitted. Every lie, every excuse, every time he came home late smelling like her perfume. Jennifer made notes on her legal pad. The adultery claim is solid. The abandonment claim is even stronger. A man who prioritizes an affair over his postpartum wife shows a pattern of emotional neglect. What about custody? With this evidence, primary custody is very likely. He'll get supervised visitation until he can prove stability. I felt something loosen in my chest. How long does this take? If he doesn't contest, 60 days. If he fights, she shrugged. 6 months, maybe more. My phone buzzed. Maxwell's name on the screen. Don't answer, Jennifer advised. All communication goes through me now. The phone buzzed again, then again. I turned it face down. He'll try to manipulate you, she continued. They always do. Promises to change, threats about custody, attempts to make you feel guilty. None of it matters legally. What if he tries to come back to the house? Change the locks today. I'll file for a temporary restraining order if needed. She handed me a business card. This is a locksmith. Tell him I sent you. I walked out of her office feeling lighter than I had in months. The audit trail of Maxwell's deception was now a legal weapon, and I was no longer fighting alone. The locksmith arrived at noon. By evening, Maxwell's key no longer worked. He found out when he tried to let himself in at dinner time. I saw Lisa in the cereal aisle at Whole Foods. She was studying nutrition labels like they held the secrets of the universe, her blonde hair falling across her face in that way she'd practiced since college. For a moment, I considered turning around. Then I remembered the camera capturing Maxwell's drunken confession, and I walked straight toward her. Hello, Lisa? She looked up, startled. Oh. Hi. Her eyes darted around like she was looking for an escape route. How are you? Divorced, I said simply. Well, almost divorced. She set down the box of granola she'd been holding. I heard about the party. Maxwell said what? That you were having problems, that you'd been fighting. I laughed, the sound sharp in the quiet store. We weren't fighting, Lisa. Fighting requires 2 people. We were just me, alone, trying to save a marriage while my husband was sleeping with my best friend. She flinched. It's not what you think. It's exactly what I think. 2 years, right? That's what he told everyone at our wedding reception. Her face went white. You don't understand. It just happened. We didn't plan it. You didn't plan to seduce my husband while I was dealing with postpartum depression? I was going through a breakup with Beau. Maxwell was there for me. Maxwell was there for you while I was home alone with a newborn, wondering why my husband didn't want to touch me anymore. Other shoppers were starting to stare. Lisa noticed and lowered her voice. I never meant for it to go on so long. But it did. For 2 years. While you watched my daughter every Friday night. While you sat in my kitchen drinking my coffee and listening to me worry about my marriage. I felt terrible about it. Not terrible enough to stop. She picked up her purse, ready to flee. Maxwell said you threw him out. Where is he supposed to go? I assume he's staying with you, I said, since that's where he's been spending his time anyway. We're not together like that. No? Then what do you like? She couldn't answer. She just stood there, caught between shame and defiance, holding her purse like a shield. Stay away from Nora, I said finally, and stay away from me. I left her standing in the cereal aisle and finished my shopping in peace. Maxwell showed up at my office Tuesday morning with his mother in tow. They bypassed reception and walked straight to my desk, where I was reviewing quarterly reports. We need to talk, he said. All communication goes through my lawyer, I replied without looking up. His mother, Patricia, leaned over my desk. This is ridiculous. You're destroying this family over nothing. Adultery isn't nothing. Men make mistakes, Patricia continued. You're being vindictive. I pulled out the letter Jennifer had drafted and handed it to Maxwell. This is your formal notice that any attempt to contact me outside of legal channels constitutes harassment. Maxwell read it quickly, his jaw tightening. You can't keep me from my daughter. I can keep you from unsupervised visits until you prove you're stable. Living with Lisa doesn't make me unstable. I finally looked up. Living with your mistress while fighting for custody of your 4-year-old makes you look unstable to a judge. Patricia gasped. Lisa? Your friend Lisa? Maxwell's face went red. Mother, let's go. She's been to our house, Patricia said, staring at me. She's played with Nora. For 2 years, I confirmed, while sleeping with your son. Patricia turned on Maxwell, her voice rising. You told me she was having mental problems. You said she was paranoid. She is paranoid, Maxwell said desperately. This is all blown out of proportion. I pulled up the video file on my computer and turned the screen toward them. Maxwell's voice filled the small space, drunk and boastful, admitting everything. Patricia sat down heavily in the visitor chair. Maxwell stared at the screen like it was a death sentence. 2 years, Patricia whispered, while she had the baby. I need you both to leave, I said quietly. Now. They left without another word. The courthouse hearing lasted 45 minutes. Maxwell's lawyer tried to argue for joint custody, but the evidence was overwhelming. The wedding video, the financial records showing hotel charges, Lisa's own admission in a deposition that the affair had lasted 2 years. Judge Morrison awarded me primary custody with supervised visitation for Maxwell. The house, the car, and most of our assets stayed with me and Nora. Maxwell would pay child support and cover Nora's medical expenses. The court finds, Judge Morrison said, that Mr. Maxwell's conduct during the marriage showed a pattern of abandonment and emotional neglect that is not in the child's best interests. I walked out of the courthouse with Alicia beside me. The afternoon sun felt different on my face, warmer, cleaner. How do you feel? Alicia asked. Free, I said, and meant it. My phone buzzed. A text from Beau, Lisa's ex-fiancé, who had become an unexpected ally during the proceedings. Heard about the ruling. Congratulations. You deserved better than both of them. I typed back, thank you for your testimony. It mattered. Coffee sometime? As friends. I looked at the message for a long moment. 6 months ago, I would have been terrified of starting over. Now I felt curious about what came next. "I'd like that," I replied. Nora was waiting at Alicia's house, playing with blocks on the living room floor. When she saw me, she ran over and threw her arms around my legs. "Mama, did you win?" "We won," I said, picking her up. "We get to stay in our house, and Daddy will visit you on weekends." "Will Lisa visit too?" "No, sweetheart. Lisa won't be visiting anymore." Nora nodded solemnly, then brightened. "Can we have ice cream for dinner?" "Absolutely." Later that night, after Nora was asleep, I sat in my kitchen with a glass of wine and looked around at the space that was finally, completely mine. The wedding photos were gone, replaced with pictures of Nora and me. The audit of my marriage was complete, and I'd emerged with what mattered most. My phone rang, Maxwell's name on the screen. I let it go to voicemail. Whatever he had to say, I didn't need to hear it. His time for explanations was over. Mine for living was just beginning.